Dear viewer, let me present to you the following subject.
Tipping from gratitude to expectation and the reflection of economic disparity in the fabric of American society. Tipping has woven itself from a simple gesture of gratitude into a complex symbol of economic expectation and obligation. This evolution of tipping culture, heavily advertised in media and ingrained in service industries, is not merely a shift in social norms, but a mirror reflecting deeper issues of impoverishment, social disruption, capitalist corporate psychopathic greed, and the shortcomings of trickle-down economics. The most hideous bamboozling concept came from the idea that the dogs will enjoy what might fall off of their owner's table. Folks, it is a disgrace that such a concept was even in the speech of one of the presidents of the so-called the richest and the most prosperous country on earth, America. Fellow Americans never forget that President Ronald Reagan popularized the economic theory of trickle-down economics in the 1980s. The theory suggests that the huge tax breaks and other countless benefits given to the wealthy will eventually benefit the middle and lower classes. By now we know it was all a big lie. Just look around, think, and connect the dots. The practice of tipping, once a voluntary addition to exceptional service, has become an anticipated part of transactions in many service-based interactions. The media's portrayal of tipping as a normative behavior has contributed to this expectation, often suggesting that tipping is a necessary supplement to a worker's income. This shift from discretionary to obligatory tipping, dubbed tipflation, has been noted by many as an increasing trend. The reliance on tips has significant implications for workers and consumers alike. For many service employees, tips constitute a substantial portion of their income, compensating for wages that often fall below the living standard. While the owners and CEOs are making out like bandits, this system places the burden of fair compensation on the customer rather than the employer, perpetuating a cycle of financial instability for workers who must rely on the unpredictable generosity of others. From an economic standpoint, the expectation of tipping highlights the failure of trickle-down capitalism, where the promise of wealth distribution from the top echelons of society to the lower rungs has not materialized as theorized. Instead, the tipping system has become a band-aid solution to address wage disparities, allowing corporations to benefit from low labor costs while shifting the responsibility of fair wages onto customers. Moreover, the tipping culture has been criticized for fostering an environment ripe for discrimination and harassment, as employees may feel compelled to tolerate inappropriate behavior to secure their tips. This dynamic further exacerbates social inequalities and underscores the power imbalance between service providers and recipients. The expectation of tipping also reflects a broader societal issue, the erosion of the middle class and the growing divide between the wealthy and the poor. As the cost of living continues to rise without a corresponding increase in wages, workers find themselves in a precarious position, dependent on the whims of tipping to make ends meet. This reality is a stark indication of corporate greed, where profit margins are prioritized over the well-being of employees. Does this make sense? Restaurant workers in the U.S. Many restaurant workers rely heavily on tips due to the sub-minimum wage laws. For instance, servers in some states earn as little as $2.13 per hour before tips. This system often leads to financial instability and stress for workers, who must depend on the generosity of customers to make a living wage. Additionally, the pressure to earn tips can lead to workers feeling humiliated, as they must constantly strive to please customers, sometimes at the expense of their dignity. Digital tipping. With the rise of digital point-of-sale systems, customers are often prompted to tip more than they might otherwise. These systems can suggest tipping options as high as 25%, creating a sense of guilt or obligation. This phenomenon, known as tip creep, can lead to customers feeling pressured to tip more, while the additional revenue often benefits business owners more than the workers themselves. Gig economy. Workers in the gig economy, such as delivery drivers and rideshare drivers, also face challenges related to tipping. For example, some companies have been criticized for using tips to subsidize wages, rather than allowing workers to keep the full amount. This practice can lead to workers feeling exploited and undervalued, as their earnings are directly tied to customer generosity rather than fair compensation from their employers. Begging culture. In some cases, individuals who resort to begging or tipping face significant social stigma and humiliation. For instance, in many urban areas, people experiencing extreme prices because of capitalist greed, and now they must rely on covert begging and tipping to survive. This can lead to feelings of shame and degradation, as they are often treated with disdain or ignored by the rich. Meanwhile, in the case of losing that job, they are facing systemic issues such as a lack of affordable housing, huge price increases, and inadequate social services that still remain completely unaddressed. These examples highlight the complex and often detrimental effects of tipping and begging culture on workers and individuals. They underscore the need for systemic changes to ensure fair wages and support for those in need, rather than relying on the generosity of consumers to fill the gaps. In conclusion, the transformation of tipping from a voluntary act of appreciation to an expected supplement for inadequate wages is a multifaceted issue that boils down to the specific capitalist psychopathic greed. It reveals the cracks in the economic system where the burden of fair compensation is shifted away from employers to consumers. The rich get richer exponentially. As tipping becomes more entrenched in the fabric of economic transactions, it serves as a poignant reminder of the need for systemic change to ensure a fair and equitable distribution of wealth and opportunity for all. Fellow Americans, always remember life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Remember the Declaration of Independence. On July 4, 1776, think what Thomas Jefferson and the Committee of Five would think about the state of the economy if they walked the streets today in New York, and what they would think about the nation if they sat down in a cafe and read the newspapers.
Please tell me what you think and how you feel about this issue. Analyze it, brainstorm it, debate it, and if you like it, please share it. Thank you for watching. I truly and highly appreciate you, and God bless you.